This happened last September. I had just graduated high school and starting my first semester of college. I'll be completely honest, I was the typical girl who was obsessed with social media and attention, especially Instagram. I would post multiple times a day, to the point I felt like I was an influencer. There was a point where I actually did have over 30,000 followers and awesome engagements on my posts. But of course, that comes with a price. Every now and then, I would get DMs from creepy old men asking me very inappropriate questions and offers. Anytime I would get one of those, I would simply delete them and move on. But in the beginning of my first semester, I posted a cute photo of me in the library, drinking coffee. After I posted it, I received a comment almost immediately from some older man about how gorgeous I was. He used a bunch of the heart and fire emojis with his comment. I didn't know who he was and decided to click on his profile. He had literally 0 followers and was following over 3,000 people, all of which were OnlyFans girls and girls in bikinis. He appeared to be over 50, so I just deleted his comment from my post. But that's when I got a direct message from him. All it said was, "Hey, I'd love to study with you sometime." I instantly blocked his account and deleted the message. Nothing good would come from me hanging out with a 50-plus-year-old man. Again, this wasn't so uncommon, but annoying when it did happen. Shortly after, I received another message from a new account with 0 followers that appeared to just be made. They sent me a message asking why I blocked them and was ignoring them. But before I could block this account, they sent a follow-up message saying my exact dorm number and class schedule. This was beyond the typical creepy messages I get. This guy knew my personal information, and I was genuinely concerned. I went back to my dorm to show my roommate. She was equally as concerned as I was and suggested I show it to campus police. I just decided to block him instead and not deal with the headache. Bad move. About a week went by and I started forgetting all about the creep. On Monday morning, I woke up to start getting ready for my first class of the day. I threw on some clothes and started to head out the door. But as I opened my door, I noticed something on the hallway floor. It was a cup of my favorite Starbucks coffee with my name on it. Underneath it was screenshots of the Instagram conversation I had with that creep. On the back of the paper had a small handwritten message that said, "I'm never too far away." I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I ran and woke my roommate up and showed her what was at our door. That's when we finally got campus police involved, but they were unable to pinpoint anything because our building didn't have security cameras. It's been over a year now, and I haven't received any messages or unexpected visits from that creep. I can't tell if it was a sick joke or something a lot worse. At this point, I don't think I'll ever know. When I was on summer vacation last year, something super creepy happened. I was in my senior year of high school and trying my best to savor these final moments on summer. I was out in my backyard drinking lemonade and scrolling on Instagram. I suddenly received a DM notification. I opened it up and saw that it was from this girl at my school who I barely spoke with. Her name was Sarah, and we shared one math class together. Outside of that, I didn't know her. Her message was asking if she could stop by my place and borrow my 3D printer. I should note that I had a little side business where I was selling 3D art on Etsy. She said she was trying to sell as well and wanted to know if it was okay to borrow it. I was hesitant but didn't want to be a dick and tell her no. I sent her my address and she said she would be there tonight to swing by and pick it up. We agreed on 9 o'clock that night. But as 9 p.m. came around, Sarah was nowhere to be seen. I messaged her and asked her if we were still on. She messaged back saying sorry she was held up at work and would need to come by at another time. I was pissed at this point and just ended up going to my room. I'm scrolling on Instagram when I heard a noise by my window. My bedroom is on the first floor facing the street. I got up and saw a person standing at the street and looking in at me. I saw them holding a phone. They put it to their ear as if they were calling someone. Suddenly, my phone starts going off, and I see that Sarah is calling me on Instagram. I connected the dots immediately and realized I had not been communicating with Sarah at all. I ran into my parents' bedroom and woke them up. I explained what was happening, and my dad ended up running outside with a baseball bat. There was no one there. I tried to call the profile back on Instagram but noticed the account had been deleted. So now this creepy guy has my address because I was an idiot and thought it was someone from school. We've been extra vigilant and on high alert, but that guy never returned. I'm now in college and we've had no contact from that person. I just hope it stays that way. So I still can't explain how this happened, but here it is. When I was 19, I was big into social media. It was to the point where I wanted to make a living off of sponsorships and brand deals. Well, it's not exactly as easy as it sounds, and I ultimately didn't do too well. My main way of trying to grow was on Instagram. I would post 2 reels a day and 3 posts. It was literally consuming my life. That's how bad I wanted to make it big on there. Well, one day, I was reached out by this company called Daily Sunshine. They were a makeup brand asking if I wanted to be one of their spokespersons. I can't explain how elated and happy I was. I clicked on their profile and they had over 100,000 followers, and to me, seemed very legit. However, I would notice that on all their posts and reels, there would be literally no engagements, no one commenting or liking anything they posted. This to me was a red flag. So after doing my research, I messaged them back saying I'm sorry I would not be interested in working with them. Immediately, the account started acting very unprofessional back to me. They would message me saying how dumb I was for not taking the opportunity to work with them and grow my own brand. I was about to block them when they sent a very disturbing message. They said, "Carissa, you're making a big mistake. We know where you live and would like you to reconsider your decision." They listed my personal address, the car I drive, and even the school I go to, none of which is on any of my social media accounts. So how they figured that out is beyond me. Before I could block them, they sent me a picture of me walking into a Dunkin' Donuts nearby. I have no clue how or when the photo was taken. They said ignoring them would be a bad idea. I'm not sure if I made the right decision, but I ultimately just blocked the account and reported it on Instagram. I didn't tell the police or my parents, and just prayed this whole thing would blow over. I'm now 21, and so far, everything has been normal. I've quit trying to be an influencer and work a normal job. To this day, I have no idea how they had all that information on me, or how they had photos of me out in public. Just be careful on social media, guys. The world is not all sunshine and rainbows. I've never posted anything like this before, but I'm freaking out and need some advice. I've been dealing with a seriously messed up situation on Instagram, and it's starting to spill into my real life. About a month ago, I noticed this account that kept liking and commenting on all my posts. The username was just a jumble of letters and numbers. At first, I thought it was some spam or bot, but the comments got weirdly personal, like way too specific about my life. They'd comment on my pictures saying stuff like, "I saw you today at the mall," or "that blue shirt on you looked great." I blocked the account, but it kept coming back with different usernames. Each time the comments got darker, referring to events and details that only close friends or family would know. I thought tightening my privacy settings would help, but they still managed to find ways to creep into my Instagram. A couple of days ago, it escalated. I started getting direct messages describing my daily routine, like where I go, what I do. It was like this person was stalking me. I'm starting to feel seriously violated and scared. The other night, things took a really dark turn. They sent me a picture of my front door, taken from outside. The message said, "I know where you live." I'm terrified, guys. I don't know what to do. I've contacted the authorities, and they said they're looking into it, but the messages kept coming. I've confided in friends, but no one seems to have a solution. This morning, the police traced the messages to an abandoned building nearby. I went with them, and what we found was straight out of a horror movie. There was a dark room with a single flickering screen showing my Instagram profile, surrounded by pictures and notes. But the worst part was a life-sized mannequin dressed in my clothes, posed exactly like me. Guys, this is beyond messed up. The stalker took it from the digital world to a whole new level. I don't even know how to process this. Has anyone been through something similar? I'm scared to go back home. Please, any advice would be appreciated. This happened a few months ago, and for reference, I'm an 18-year-old male who lives at home. I was on Instagram and noticed that I had a new follower. I looked to see who it was, because honestly, I never got new friend requests. I saw that it was this cute blonde hair girl. She seemed to be around my age, and I decided to check out her profile. I saw instantly that she was social media popular. All her photos had hundreds of likes and dozens of comments saying how gorgeous she was. I saw she had a few snowboarding pictures, and I thought that was pretty cool, so I decided to accept and follow her back. Almost immediately after accepting her, I received a DM. She was saying, "Hey, what's up?" I started chatting back and found out we shared a lot of things in common, especially the snowboarding. The conversation seemed to be going great, and I ended up asking for her Snapchat. I asked that because I was way more active on there than I was Instagram. She told me she didn't have one and said she only had Instagram. I thought this was a bit strange, but didn't want to judge her off her social media preferences. Our conversation kept flowing, and I grew the balls to ask her to hang out. We decided on next Friday at this arcade that was in town. She worked near the area and told me she could meet me at 10, right after she was done. I'll be honest, I was a little nervous to meet her because I was a bit skeptical that I could be being catfished, but I decided it would be worth finding out. I drove to the arcade on Friday and sat in my car waiting. I sent her a message on Instagram and told her I was here. She texted back saying she just got done work and is in her car putting on her makeup. She said she was parked about 1 block up from the arcade in a black Honda Civic. I looked up the street, which was very busy, and saw the black Honda. She messaged me and said to walk over to her. Again, I was very hesitant about all this, but figured I was in a very public place if anything went down. I got out of my car and approached hers. As I got closer, I noticed that there were about 4 people sitting in the car, 2 in the front and 2 in the back. The driver's side door opened, and this man stepped out. All the other doors opened up as well. My instincts kicked in, and I sprinted back to my car. I was so nervous that I dropped my keys and had to pick them back up. I saw the men walking very fast over to my car and just sped off. I drove all the way home and didn't stop for anything. The whole time I was checking my mirrors to see if I was being followed. When I made it home safely, I went to the Instagram account and reported it. I even contacted the police. Here's the crazy part. The girl who was messaging me was actually real, but her account was somehow hacked, and she had nothing to do with it. Since then, I've used better common sense and refused to meet up with anyone I meet online, especially Instagram.